Hello there folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel, a place where different topics are gonna be debated on, like spirituality, introspection, deeper introspection as well, dream interpretation, dream analysis, game analysis, and many other things. If you're interested in these kind of topics, feel free to like and subscribe, feel free to view some of the other content that I'm creating. Feel free to drop some likes, feel free, but what I would ask of you is to drop some comments, questions that you have, and things that can actually help me expand on my content while also providing value to the people. If you have video games that you're working on and you want some constructive feedback, feel free to drop a link below, give me some copy of it, and when I feel right I will actually do a I will do a video for that, or a series like I've done for I think 3 games already before. You can find those on my channel. And well, all this being said, today's or well, better said, this video's topic is somewhat on authenticity, and the title that I thought of is all the NPCs are simply genuine. Are you player 1? Now the point about this is probably a cheeky title, yes I know, but my imagination never fails me. The point about this is this title was intended to be an eye-opener for people. Now we have this impression in life that everyone is fake, okay? Now when you get this feeling or this thought in your mind that everyone is fake, what you're actually manifesting is one of the core aspects of the Matrix, and that is racism. Racism has stemmed somewhat from the more aggressive, violent one has stemmed somewhat from history in the older times, although in the newer times. However, as narcissism goes, and some aspects of sociopathy and other personality disorders, racism actually has existed for a very long time, even before Europe as we know it. But the Christianity and its hold and inhibition and inquisition that it exerted over Europe throughout almost 1,000 times, probably more, depends. History is almost never the one that you find easily in the books. The point about this is people suddenly found out they can actually think for free, and think they have the freedom to think when the influence of the church decayed. Now the point was, with all this new freedom, everyone also ended up in that hole where they thought that whatever they think is the best. Now don't ever forget that the best or more, when you use these words, they usually come from your ego. Now the ego is an ancient construct whose role is to protect you, and yes, probably you're gonna fret a bit on this because you've most likely been taught that your ego is your worst enemy. No, it's not. You have to understand one principle of this life is that everything you are taught will always be taught in reverse. Now this may sound shocking, this may sound untrue, but well, everything is always gonna be taught to you in reverse because of one thing, okay? What would that thing be? Well, that thing is this: the truth can never be taught, okay? If you think that you're some kind of preacher of the truth, well, you're nothing else than a little tyrant doing whatever the Matrix has been doing, right? Just like Christianity, for example, preached to people that it's their way, right? It's the only way, and you kind of end up as a tyrant, because that was kind of a way of tyranny. Whenever you come and say my idea is better than the others, okay, you have that better, okay, you have that other word, okay. So always try to take into account your thoughts. okay, and you can take notice of those through how you pronounce, how you articulate your words, and I'm always very sensitive and paying a lot of attention to that, to the fluctuation of words, to the vibration of words, because everything is perceivable. There are senses beyond this one, okay, and there is an emotional sensor. We also have the gut feeling, but the way people speak, okay, they send, every time you manifest emotion, I've been speaking about this in other videos as well, you send out ripples, okay, like shock waves of those emotions, be they fear, happiness, joy, whatever. That is why, especially if you are an empath, right, and you enter a certain room full of people, that is why you can easily pick those vibes. You don't have to rub yourself against that person to feel their vibe, because everything that they manifest simply bombards the surrounding. And you have to understand one little truth that probably is gonna sound very awkward. Emotions are also physical. Yes, they are not perceivable. You may see some manifestation of theirs, if not their whole manifestation, through your third eye, and through some sort of auric expansions, or like movements of your auric field, which is also a physical aspect. Yes, much subtler. Yes, physicality doesn't have to be necessarily that which you touch, right? Light is also energy, and light is also physical. Don't lie yourself that it isn't physical, okay? It's also physical because you can perceive it physically, and like visually, and at times you can even feel it, okay? You can feel its warmth against your skin, or some tingling sensations on your eyes, right? So the point about this, okay, is that the truth can never be taught, it can only be realized, okay? The moment you realize a certain truth, okay, you know that it cannot be otherwise than true, okay? Now, of course, there is a lot of self-sabotage, a lot of thinking that no, it's not true, it's definitely not true, there's something wrong with me. No, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just broken, okay? Now, of course, people might fret again, it's like, what the fuck, like, broken? Yes, I actually have a video called, let's see, you won the game, or I don't know exactly. The point about that is, when people tell you that you suck, okay, or you have become nobody, I think it's something like that, you became a nobody, you beat the game. The point about that is, when people actually tell you that you're a no one, okay, or you will become a nobody, actually throw the greatest party possible, because that's the best thing ever. Think about this. In life, everyone has achieved, anyone who has achieved inner wisdom, and different levels of nirvana, or whatever those states you want to say, in which you are totally aware of almost, if not everything around you, that's when technically you are part, or let's say one with creation itself, right? The aspect of creation. And when that happens, okay, there is a tremendous amount of awareness that you have, okay, and all that thing was done by actually becoming nothing, because creation technically is nothing, okay? Everything comes from somewhere into existence, because there is nothing and then there is something. It's kind of awkward to explain, especially to people who are still barely waking up and still trapped in the beasts, like the mind, okay, the lower functional aspects of the mind, the parasites, the the thought forms that still want you, and still claim some dominion over you. Now, the point about this is like very simple. There is there is nothing difficult, but I know life and struggles and all these, and especially the lack of guidance in this world is it makes everything so much worse. Now, technically things aren't worse, we simply do them because we can't focus our mind on one thing so that we solve them, and worse than that, we can't even focus our emotions on one thing so that we boost our mind, and that we can finally use the cosmos for our betterment instead of against us. That is why machines will always be faster than us. You give them a purpose to do, they will simply do it. There is no distraction for them. Well, viruses and the such, yes, but the natural way they are built, okay, That's how humans should be. When you start doing something, you simply can't stop. Or, well, you use your sense of awareness to realize that, hey, at a certain time I should also stop, because if I conduct self-destruction, I will end up fucking up my health, and worse than that, there will be people who will enjoy that. Never forget, don't ever dance with the pig, because that means getting into its mud, and the pig will like it. Okay, so the point about this is, you know, since life is a video game, people around you, especially the lower ones, the attention seekers, people pleasers, and the such, the drone level ones, the AI, the bots, whatever you want to call them. You want to hear the funniest thing I have discovered about them? Is that, again, since the truth is always taught in reverse, and that's why I needed the great introduction. Now, the funny thing, and I've been talking about this on other videos as well, is that those people are actually the most authentic people you'll always find them. Sure, you'll probably say you want, you'll want proof, but when you say you want proof, you're again living in a very low vibration. Okay, again, some people might quarrel, some people might simply twirl and coil around, because again, every time you react to whatever I say, okay, it's not that whatever I say is fake. I know whatever I'm saying is true, because it's also been proven to me countless of times, and other people, highly woke people, I also heard them speaking about this, like, well, a while after most of them I've come across, and it's very funny that I constantly kept denying and fighting against that which was provided to me as correct answers. I'm not saying the only correct answers, but the point is, I've been throughout time again and again proven, even through other people, that what I was thinking and feeling, the truths I have been perceiving are actually correct. Okay, now I'm not saying that other people's opinions and ideas are invalid. I'm just saying that, well, whatever I'm sharing actually made sense for me, so it should be very normal that it will be gonna be at least as impacting to other woke people. But again, it's not important to be waking up, it's important to be authentic, because technically waking up is the path to authenticity, right? That's more important. It's more important to be authentic than to be actually waking up, because waking up in a way sucks. Okay, like, look at those people who are very primitive. Okay, they don't know much, they have the impression that they know everything, they lie, they cheat, they manipulate, they pull down people, they gossip, they can't keep truths, all these scumbags, or whatever you want to call them. Now, the reason is, and as I was speaking about racism, what you're doing is actually racism, and this racism is feeding your personas, technically the masks that society has been teaching you to create. Don't forget, we also have created a monstrosity called personal development. Okay, now what personal development means: to develop means to create from zero. That's why you have software and game development, right? You're creating them from scratch. And then you have personal. So society teaches you how to create masks, how to create personas. Why does it do that? Through school and even your parents, who are in many situations NPCs. Well, so that they can create the perfect puppies. Ain't that logical? Like, don't tell me that reality actually train whacked you in the face. Now, the point about these people, okay, probably are still wondering why those people are actually the most authentic. Well, you see, I've been in the 6th grade, like, I think, I don't know, 15 years at least back, when I had one of those periods in life in which my wisdom simply was almost overwhelming. The point about this is simple. Okay, I had an idea that simply crept into my mind, and this idea was, this whole life is like a video game. I kind of disregarded it, but I was met with more and more introspective based, I don't know how to put it. Okay, simply answers came in again and again and again, supporting this idea that life is actually a video game. Now in video games, let's say RPGs, because many people love RPGs, or not necessarily RPGs, but in most games you have two basic points. Okay, you have two basic points of awareness, just like in real life. You have the NPCs. They don't have any awareness at all. Their only awareness would be their pathfinding. If it is not scripted, they have pathfinding that gives them more freedom, like reach that direction, but not through scripts, like walk this way, then that way, then that way. Like they actually reach that place through a specifically given set of commands. No, they just have to find their own way, which is one of the more resource consuming aspects of game design. And that's kind of it. Okay, and they also have vision. Yes, 180 degrees up front, that's vision. Okay, and also most likely on a certain range. Now the point about that is you have the NPCs. In order to have the NPCs, you need to have a huge amount of code. Okay, you need to have the code that makes them work, behave, act, do whatever they're doing. But the point about them is, well, they are authentic to their code, because that code is technically the only thing they know. So the other spectrum is the players. There is some code that give them a spawn place, their skills and different other things, but there is no coding for AI. There is no coding for a lot of things. Okay, because players are free to behave in whatever way, right? That is just like in society. You have people who are waking up, people who have woken up, and you have the NPCs, right? Now the point is, the NPCs, just like in the video games themselves, and video games spiritually speaking only have an even deeper role of helping you dive deeper. While you dive deeper into those games, it should be crystal clear to you that technically the life that you live is just another diving deep into one of the video games the universe has to offer, right? It's like back in the times when I was young, there were these things called internet cafes where you can actually go, you paid a little fee, and you could play computer games or use the email and such, and most people would go for computer games. Generally Grand Theft Auto 3, Counter-Strike, and of course Quake 3 Arena, all the times. So that's technically it. You put it in a somewhat logical and funny way, because definitely this is not a point. Life doesn't have any purpose because it is beyond logics and the mind. I've been presenting this thing in some of my previous ideas. Now the point about this is those people who pull you down, whatever they are doing, they're authentic to their code. Okay, now how do you know a person is authentic to their code? Well, it's very simple. It's actually very simple, and probably you may end up asking yourself why things are so simple when I present them. Well, it's mainly because I don't like presenting, like, yes, I have lengthy videos, but I prefer presenting things at times, not always, up front. Okay, I don't need telling people this, telling people that, or it could be like this. No, you know what, reality is like this. Okay, you don't like it, okay, fine, you can leave. I'm not gonna force anyone to follow me. So the point about this is very simple. How do you realize a person is authentic? Well, they're technically loyal to their code. What is it that they know how to do? Well, some people just know how to cheat, how to manipulate, how to do those things, hideous things, lying, deceit. Those are technically their skills, right? Each AI, each NPC in a game has a certain set of skills, depending on the game and such, has a certain code that, it allows them to do certain things. Now, just with AIs, okay, they can be sometimes predictable, they are fully predictable, or they are barely predictable. There are those games in which you'll always know where the AI goes because it always goes the same path. Those are the easiest people to pinpoint as authentic, because they're people who just know how to do one or two things, even if that's they lie, or they use a lot of deceits, blackmail, or whatever. Those are authentic people because they are authentic to their code. Now, the reason why you don't want to believe this is because you have a root of racism within you. You simply don't want to believe that because it is not aligned to your own ideas. There is this perpetrator within your mind that keeps saying whoever doesn't think like you is evil, whoever doesn't look like you is bad, whoever doesn't act like you is not of your interest, whoever is outside, those expectations that you are building is definitely not worth your time, right? And expectations are one of the, if not the greatest disappointments in life. Now, why I'm saying this is very simple. People have these expectations, and you can find that in video games, right? When you find opponents that are very, if they are beginners, they are very much below your skill level, you have this stupid expectation of always wanting people to be very hard, right? Hardcore and such. When you have an easy game, that side of you that wants you to be brutally murdered by, far better players because you don't value yourself and you still may have self-esteem issues. Now, the point about this is when you have easier players to fight against, you're gonna, wonder what's wrong, and you were expecting those, hardcore players to ruffle stomp you. When you have hardcore players, you simply had an expectation, which is a silly, stupid expectation, to win the game. And well, when you say that you want to win the game, you're technically setting yourself up for the failure. So the universe is paying you exactly what you're subconsciously demanding, right? You're demanding to fail the game through your wanting to win the game, because when you want, you're actually focusing on what you don't have. So the universe will reward you in kind. So the point about this is, when you see people who know to do a few things and do just that, okay, they are technically abundant. Now, again, this might sound really awkward, but abundance is of all sorts and kinds. Now, people who deceive, who lie, who cheat, they, narcissistic people, they are abundant as well. There will always be people who will give them attention. And the most striking part is, so many people you will ask, or you'll see asking, and they don't know the answer, but it just simply came to me one day, is how come narcissistic people, sociopaths and such, are always so charming? Because authenticity is the most charming thing on the planet. You may find, the hideous girl on the planet. If she is authentic to herself, you'll simply fall in love, and that simply dispels all of your physical expectations, because society also builds such physical expectations. You want, there is that expectation for a muscular guy, for big butt females, or big breasts, or whatever. There's always something sexual, okay? And that sexuality is again nothing else than a vibration of survival, okay? When you seek these things and you have the impression that you must fulfill those things, you're doing that because the survival of your masks, which are nothing else than societal extensions of yourself, so basically you're straying away from your authenticity as much as possible, right? You're goofing around because as a player you don't have any code, right? The NPCs have the code that allows them to exist, right? And that's the only thing that they know, right? So you have to find your own code and function by it, okay? You're a highly aware being that's capable of reshaping the filthy code they have within them and turn it, into the zeros and ones that will be simply shape-shifted through motivations, meditation and such. Well, I don't believe in motivation. It's something that fake gurus require, okay? It's just something that you do or you don't, okay? Motivation is something that I've been seeking for over 15 years, and recently I've had an epiphany that simply proved to me that there is no such thing as motivation. It's nothing else than some kind of mental masturbation. You're just playing a game with yourself that you're finally feeling ready to do something, but guess what? Your subconscious mind will simply remind you that nope, you're not ready to do that, and therefore you simply won't. So you see, the point is, yes, I might have this hideous aspect of breaking things down to their minutest details, and well, why not? This, I know, is one of my purposes in life. So the point about you as a player, you are free to simply goof around, okay? Just like we have players who are cosplaying in the video game, right? You're free to put each and every mask on your face, right? But the problem is those masks, they allow you to experience different other things by channeling your power this way and that way. Though, however, the point is one, okay? You're straying away from your authenticity, and that is why you are drawing in the NPCs, okay? The purpose of these NPCs is to actually help you. Just like in video games, we have NPCs that help you. That is why those toxic relationships, they are always a lesson that you have to learn. Each misdeed that you do will simply trigger a certain quest chain that will happen, and some lessons that have to be understood. They are like tiny campaigns or longer campaigns that you have to, unlock through your existence, every now and then, possibly even for several lifetimes. But you see, this is something that I really want people to become aware of, okay? And overstand, not only understand, because understanding is only an illusion. When you say you understand, okay, it's actually under, okay? You are only understanding it with a bit of your being, your first three chakras, and your physical brain, your physical mind. The mind simply can't care about the idea, it only cares about the things to back it up. Just like you can simply see this within yourself. When someone tells you and you accept the fact that, for example, you suck, it doesn't matter that you suck. You're always gonna pay attention to whatever supports that idea. This is some other epiphany that I had. Okay? I simply didn't care that I would suck, that I did suck, because we kind of all end up in a situation when we suck. I didn't care about the fact that, the original idea is, you'll never achieve anything, a thing that my parents kept telling me and society and school also do. And, it was all about paying attention and prioritizing, right? Every idea, thought, gesture of anyone and even yourself that would promote that idea and remind you of that idea, because that's how technically the mind works. Okay, there is something within you called mirror neurons, and there are other specialized types of neurons, and one of these types of neurons simply will always focus on supporting your ideas, the ideas that you support. It doesn't matter that those ideas are yours or whoever other person's, or yours or other people's. It could be alien ideas, it could be whatever. The moment they are accepted, they're gonna fight, even die for that. That's also another root of the idea, of racism. Technically, when you're putting a mask over yourself, you're already embracing a sort of racism in a way, because when you put a mask on yourself, you're already creating separation, because racism is nothing else than separation, right? You are black, you are white, you are this, you are that. So technically, as a player, you have the freedom to do whatever you want, but be careful how many masks you put over your face, because they might actually, get stuck. Okay? Now, hopefully you like the type of content that I'm creating. Feel free to like and subscribe. Feel free to ask me questions. Guide people towards my account if you think my content can actually guide them. Feel free to share with others so that we raise the awareness of others. You are loved and appreciated. Take care of yourselves. You are more than good enough. And well, Ferinjan Board signing out.